This conference will now be recorded.
All right. Hey, if you're ready, whenever.
Thank you. I'd like to call the City of New Richland Council meeting for May 12th to order. All are present. We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so approval of agenda.
I just have one addition, under number 6 of new business, dual EDA grant.
Thank you.
Move to approve the agenda with addition.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, public comment. Oh, I'm sorry.
Do the consent agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry. Consent agenda. Missed that one.
Move to approve the consent agenda. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, now public comment. All right, we'll move on to then New Richland Area Foundation Fund.
Thank you for letting us come to the meeting.
You're welcome.
Some money. This year, the foundation is awarding a total of $25,250 to the city of New Richland area and also to NRHEG school system. Tonight, we're here to present 3 grants. The first one, Alicia will. Oh, no, you're set. That's fine. Just go first.
City of New
Goes to the city.
City of New Richland, $7,500 for a bathroom.
Yay.
Thank you.
Speech.
So we've been trying to kind of sort of fix things up here. And one of the things that we did as part of the one of the things that we did is when we went for a USDA grant, we had to do a disability study of the city hall. And what we noticed is that our bathrooms are out of touch with disability access. So this grant was going to help us bring our bathrooms into code for disabled people and give them more accessibility to use the services for the bathroom. So that's what this would be for.
Woohoo.
So for the New Richland Library summer reading program. This yeah.
So my name's Brianna. I'm from the Waseca headquarters, but Kathy asked me to step in, just read her something real quick for you guys. She says, thank you for putting smiles on the faces of all of the kids, the ages 3 to 18. They all received their very own book after they finished the Summer Library Reading Challenge. They're always really excited to go and pick out a book to take home. Getting the prize is exciting, but a book can be opened year after year and bring them happy memories.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Next one is for $1,500 to the New Richland Care Center for Vital Mission.
Nice.
Stick. Second nurse on a stick.
Call it C3 video.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right. Corey, for the 25th Street project.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council and members of the public. So I have 2 action items, both related to 2025 street utility projects. Both will end with the consideration of adoption of a resolution as listed in the agenda. So the first is in regards to the adoption of the assessment role. And so better part of a year here now in planning for our 2025 street utility project. And tonight is kind of that culmination of effort, really then kicking us off into our final phase, the construction phase. So a lot of planning, a lot of meetings and discussion to get us to this point. And tonight, prior to the regular meeting here, we conducted our assessment hearing. And so now following that hearing then is the formal consideration to adopt that assessment role. Don't mind, Tony. So as part of that 2025 street utility project, I apologize, council, but this will be a little repeat here. So we are especially assessing to those benefiting adjacent properties. Our 2025 street project corridor is 2 blocks of Ash, 2 blocks of Broadway, 4th and 3rd Street. Within that, council has indicated and kind of set an assessment rate of 20% for the street, the sanitary, and the water main costs. And the remaining portion of those 80% and the storm sewer then is a part of that greater city cost. We do know our total project cost with the bid opening in April. We've been able to convey that tonight and then calculate that assessment. That is, Tony, if you don't mind, was presented at that hearing and is consistent now with what would be the proposed final assessment rule. One more slide, please, Tony. So in considerations for special assessment, we follow a very kind of rigorous and methodical process as guided by Minnesota Statute Chapter 429. Special assessments are an important source of funding to acknowledge the benefit of those adjacent properties. And the affordability of these projects is closely tied to the special assessment process. Our role is assessing 20% as has been directed by council, and the assessment hearing is that final step in order to allow for council to consider adoption of that role as required by 429. So as of now, we have conducted all those necessary steps. And so provided there is no other questions or discussion desired by council, there is the request then to consider that resolution 25-15 that formally adopts that assessment.
All right. The resolution 25-15,
Yep, that was formally adopted assessment.
want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 25-15.
Second.
All in favor?
Discussion before we have a little discussion before we, or not.
Yeah, we can.
I have a little bit of a problem with the 1.5% interest charged to the residents above what the city's paying. Why can't they just pay the same interest rate that the city's paying for these assessments? You know, they didn't ask for these. They didn't ask for these assessments. It isn't like a home improvement loan. I think you're double whamming them with the assessment as well as the extra 1.5% interest. That's just my thought on it. I understand the need for the interest, but why couldn't it be the same as what the city's paying on their bonds instead of adding that extra 1.5%? It's just more burden on the resident.
Is that part of the bond process, or?
It's not really part of the bond process. Whenever the bonds are sold and bought, there will be an interest rate set at that point in time.
I understand.
Some cities would charge interest. I know Waterville charges 2%. Just there earlier today, 2%. Some cities would charge whatever the bond is. You know, so if the bond is 5%, that's what you would pass on as opposed to 6.5.
No, just for greater context, the assessments policy speaks to that increase of interest above the bond, and the way that the assessment policy reads, that's been adopted for New Richland, it reads 1.5% to 2%, and so consistent with the policy is that recommendation of 1.5%, and it is a lower range of the interest that's identified in the assessment policy. So not to contradict the statement being made, but just for context, we are recommending consistent with the policy, the low range of that interest. So
That's all I have to say.
Okay. So do you want us to
There's a motion and a second on the table.
all in favor then?
Aye. No.
Right. We're gonna go to resolution 25-15.
Corey's got some more
Oh.
stuff.
Okay.
So then the second action related to the 2025 project and strategically here positioned after the assessment hearing is the acceptance and consideration of the contract, the formal award of this project to that low bid responsible bidder. We opened bids for this project on April 10th here at City Hall. We read those in person, received 8 bids, which I felt was a good number. Certainly probably higher than expectations. We had a lowest bidder from JJD Companies LLC out of Blooming Prairie. We had a tight spread in bids, which is what we look for. We had a low bid below the engineer's estimate, which is what we're constantly trying to accomplish, is driving that cost down as we kind of work through this process. Ultimately, the bid opening day tells you what this project value is to the market and to those that are going to be obligated to build the work. And so I think the bid opening was a success in my eyes and my experience. And based on that, the consideration tonight is to consider that award to JJD. We did vet references and qualifications of them. They are, in my opinion, a qualified contractor that has a reputation and experience to deliver this type of work. They've done so similarly, Albert Lee, Owatonna. They've been in business for 15 years, and so have no reason to make a recommendation different than their qualifications. Schedule and next steps, what we can expect. So tonight was the conducting of assessment hearing. We're also going to consider awarding that bid. It is going to be a tight turn here to get to start of construction. We have some rigor with our schedule on this project due to the proximity of the high school and just the summer season to build this project to be ready for school resumption here in the fall. So intend or expect that a pre-construction meeting will happen next week, and then a start of construction formally. I think everything is in position right now to start that June 2nd. We have multiple phases on this project. So stage 1 is at Ash Avenue. That's the most critical phase. We have that substantial completion that we've been conveying to the school and the public of end of August to be in position to support the start of school then for that fall session. And we also have a consideration of the rest of the corridor being drivable, realizing that there's a looped motion that is required to support school buses and parents. So Broadway and 4th Street would be gravel. They wouldn't be paved like Ash. They would continue to be work done, but done under traffic. And we have an ultimate completion date then, substantial. That's everything paved, boulevard seated. That would be that first Friday in October. And then just recognizing that we did convey tonight through this assessment process that those assessments are payable of no interest up and through November 15th. So, post substantial completion, that should be a very good trigger and reminder for folks that there's still a window there once the work is complete here this fall. And then we have a final completion then of July 31st. That would be that final lift of asphalt, ensuring that punch list, striping, boulevards are restored appropriately. And the idea there is we would hit a summer window again then in 2026 to complete the rest of that work. So something to kind of be expected and the council to be made aware of is there is a kind of similar to the planning and the delivery of this project. I hope there's a receptiveness from the public and council that we've been very transparent and kind of forthright with our project process, 2 open houses, a lot of conveyance of information for folks so they can track and kind of process and understand. We expect to do similarly in construction. And so there'll be messaging and communications that will be to that corridor and to those properties as we kind of progress here. There will be newsletters sent to the properties specifically talking about things like road closure, mail service, garbage pickup, those things that they can expect to have some disruption of. Press releases for the greater community, those road closure type things, those more significant updates, door hangers for things that are very specific like tree removals or water shutdowns, and then the presence of just a project team and an inspector that is approachable and there when work is happening. So hopefully multiple layers so that folks are tracking and understanding and aware and able to understand who they can reach out to if there's questions or concerns. So that will be kicking off here in the next couple of weeks for sure formally. So then in consideration here, the formal action, through chapter 429, we advertised for bids. Council authorized that advertisement. We satisfied the publication requirement in the official paper. The bid opening was conducted. And then, just the message that we've been able to convey here that the project cost has continued to be decreased through each of these processes. So the formal request tonight, provided there's no other discussion with council, is to consider resolution 25-16 that accepts the bids received and awards it to the lowest bidder received, JJD companies.
All right. Now we go to so resolution 25-16, a resolution accepting bids and awarding the contract.
I got a motion to accept resolution 25-16.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thanks, Corey.
Tony, you have a few things, right?
Yep. All right. So the next piece of this is the bonding piece of this. So this is the communication from Shannon Sweeney from DDA. So this is just the piece to begin the bonding process. Just to preemptive this, Shannon and I did have a ratings call with S&P. As you know, the city of New Richland was with a negative outlook due to some of the care center stuff and some previous stuff 3 years ago when I had taken over as a city administrator. Due to the diligence of our staff, due to the diligence of Bob after he was hired, and what we've done here in the past 3 years, I'm happy to say that on the last ratings call with S&P, they have removed our negative outlook just in the last 2 weeks. That's been published. So we will be going after a competitive sale on these bonds, and it should decrease our bond rate. So I'm very happy about that. But this is the information that Shannon's putting together for the bond. So this is the initial information and the bond information, and just kind of an overview of what the 20-year term will be and the information that he needs to provide to the S&P in order to start the competitive sale for the bond. So this is just kind of a breakdown of the 20-year term and what the payments will be based on everything. So what I'm looking for is adoption of resolution 25-17, which provides for the competitive negotiated sale of the general obligation bonds for this project.
Make a motion to accept resolution 25-17. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Now I'm going to open up the public hearing for ordinance 25-01, ordinance amending section 610, parking and snow removal on South Ash.
All right, so this is the second reading of this ordinance. This is the one that eliminates all parking, standing, stopping on the east side of Ash Street, that's School Street, from 4th all the way to Highway 30. The exception it makes for anybody who owns a house on the east side of Ash Street, they will be issued a permit at no cost to them to park their personal property on that street.
I'll make a motion to accept ordinance 2501.
You need to close your public hearing.
We need to close it first. All right. All right. What did you say?
No, that's what he wants to hear.
Would anybody like to speak regarding this ordinance? Oh, thank you. I will close the public hearing for ordinance 25-01, 719. Now,
I'll make a motion that we accept ordinance 2501.
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next open hearing is the petition to detach the property for Lynn and Lane Walker.
Right. Lynn and Lane Wackles filed a petition to detach the parcel. It's the agricultural land that is on the southeast corner of the city of New Richland. This information was brought before planning and zoning on April 17th at 6:30 p.m. The planning and zoning commission discussed the issue. The issues that were brought forward was twofold. One was the property was purchased as in city limits, and they felt that it should have been addressed at that time if they had concerns with the issue. Second issue is the property is potentially in its location for future flood mitigation projects. And they feel that it's important that this parcel remains in city limits until that flood mitigation study is completed to rule out any need for this parcel to be completed in that mitigation project. I also did reach out to City Attorney Jason Moran, and he also agrees that most cities do not normally support petitions to detach, as it does result in less tax revenue. Additionally, takes the lost revenue from the detached property, puts that tax burden on the remaining residents. Upon review of the Planning and Zoning Commission, the members recommend that New River City Council deny the petition to detach filed by Lindley. You can open your public hearing.
I will open that public meeting. Would anybody like to speak regarding this at this time? Would anybody like to? All right.
I'd like to, I don't necessarily agree with planning and zoning. I think we should approve their petition to detach. This thing about the flood thing, that's about the third option on the flood mitigation, isn't it? To go south?
No, that's number one.
Number
That's
one.
They changed it?
It's number one. That's the number one theory that they're moving
Oh,
forward.
I always thought it was,
I thought it was one by Budox.
yeah, I thought it was north first, then south.
No, because the county is gonna probably trying to
Oh,
abandon
that's
the
right.
underground creek because they don't want to dump any more water into the creek that goes through town.
And as far as the lost tax revenue, you know, if we build a house or two out in Homestead, that would definitely make up the difference that we would lose in there with this parcel, so.
The other thing is all of the water from there drains into the creek in town.
Well, we should make them stop their culvert or whatever. As part of the agreement to let them detach. I don't know.
I just don't see what benefit it is to the city to allow them to detach. Benefits them, but doesn't benefit the city. What's good for the city?
There hasn't been a crop on that land for a long time that I remember. Because it floods so easy.
I don't even think they plant it anywhere.
I don't think they do either, but I don't know. I just think they're gonna challenge it. It's gonna cost us more money with our city attorney here. Huh?
Very defensible. If you would deny the detachment, that's very defensible.
Okay.
Your guiding principle here tonight should be, as Mr. Economy just mentioned, your job as council members is to look out for the best interest of the city as a whole. Mm-hmm. And that's what you have to ask yourself, does this detachment benefit the city as a whole? There'll be differing opinions on it, but
We'll close the public hearing at 7:24 for the petition to detach.
Make a motion to deny resolution.
It's not a resolution.
Not a resolution. The petition. Make a resolution to
make a motion.
make a motion to deny the petition to detach.
You have a second? I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
No,
Josh?
I need a roll call vote.
My yay.
Jody,
what's that, a roll
I
call?
need a roll call vote. Jody,
Nay.
Josh,
Nay.
Yes.
and Okay, so Jason,
I've got to ask a question. When we're saying nay,
you're
that means you're voting against the denial.
against the denial.
Voting against the denial.
A.
Huh?
A. I'm voting A for. I don't want to have the denial be given.
You understand what you just said?
No,
I'm for them to have this been done.
you want it detached.
Correct.
Okay, so your motion failed.
All right.
Okay, does somebody else want to make a different motion then?
Well, if the denial request is denied, then doesn't it pass?
No, you have to have a
You
motion.
have to have a positive. Okay. All right.
So the next motion should be a motion to approve.
Yes.
the denial.
I'll make a motion to approve the petition to what do we call it? Detach. There we go.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
3-2 is passes.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay, then I'm gonna need to. And you said that's resolution 5-22.
All right, so resolution 25-22, which is granting petition to detach the property. Need a motion for that?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to move resolution 25-22.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nay.
Passes 3. Yes.
Okay.
Now from here, what'll happen is we'll get that petition up and that resolution up to the Minnesota Boundary Adjustments Board. And they'll formally start their side of the paperwork. Once theirs is done, then it goes to Waseca County. It's a process that can take some time. It's not going to happen overnight. If I had to guess, I would say 2 to 6 months. 6 months would be extreme. Should be done in a couple of months.
Helpful for the next tax roll.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
All right. So then we have the public hearing for petition to split parcel.
All right, the next one is petition to split parcel, Gary Peterson. Gary is here. The planning and zoning met, and this is in regards to 358 South Cypress and 352 South Cypress. This is on a home that was moved in. This should have been split into parcels when the home was moved in. Everything looks like it should have been done at that time, and it was done at that time, but between Gary and myself and even me contacting people previously, we're not seeing the appropriate paperwork that was filed to support that it was actually followed through with. So we did discuss this at the planning and zoning meeting. Everything appears to be in order. Splitting the lots will meet the requirements of the R1 zoning district. Both lots will be appropriate size and will meet all requirements. So the planning and zoning did recommend that the council approve the petition.
Would anybody like to speak regarding this?
Where's the split gonna be in regards to this?
Right in the center. Basically, gonna be split them right down the middle.
No, the one house I moved in, I got 100, it said 100-foot, can't be less than 100-foot distance. I got 100-foot on the property on the north side. On the other side, I think it's 105 or something like that. It's marked on there.
Not on this one, but it's basically right in the middle almost.
Right by the driveway?
Yeah, the driveway basically splits it.
Okay.
Is it sharing the driveway then?
Going up to the garage.
Yeah,
Okay.
basically it split it right in the center.
Okay, all right.
All right. We'll close that public hearing if no one else wants to speak at 7:30. Want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion, we accept. Where is it here? Resolution 2518.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
We want to stop in either tomorrow or later this week. We'll get it taken care of.
I stop in my morning, I'll be here.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Ordinances and resolution 2519.
All right, Legion asked if we would support, we do this pretty much every year, resolution supporting Poppy Day, Friday, May 23rd is Poppy Day. So this is that.
Make a resolution to approve motion to approve resolution 25-9.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 25-20, adopting fee schedule.
So this is, we have been trying to find an alternate solution for outdoor meters because they were ridiculously expensive. And so Eric and I were able to find an outdoor meter solution that was only $100 instead of $250. And so this just updates the fee schedule showing that the outdoor meter is now $100 instead of $200.
Make a motion to approve resolution 25-20.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Department reports. Ambulance report.
In writing, Ian leaves their boot camp, wishing the best. They have Stryker and Perno coming to test some things out so they can decide which way they want to go with that money that they receive from the state. Jennifer is working on getting registered on the national website so that she's able to do the refreshers for the service. We are working on getting an executive meeting together so that we can work on our executive committee. And that's all she has for this month.
Is that boot camp for the military?
I believe so, yeah.
Usually difficult to find a time for everybody for that executive meeting.
Yes.
Seems like that's been a chance.
I do have a question about the claims that was switching the companies
Yeah.
for billing. How is that going?
The new company is off and running and doing great.
Okay. How about our ones that aren't filed yet?
Because of how busy we've been with this, I haven't had a chance to dive into that, but that is my priority once me and Corey have this off the road for the street project.
Okay.
So, but yes, we did talk, we did bring up the question, and the new company has told us they will help us go back to try to collect some of that stuff.
Do we have a time frame that has to be submitted with some of these
I would
insurances?
assume
Because-
I would assume it's within 60 days or something like that.
Okay.
So we may be a little bit behind, but we'll do our best to get whatever we can.
Okay.
So
Perfect. Make a motion to accept the ambulance report.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye. Fire department.
one fire, one mutual aid, and 3 grass fires for a total of 5 calls. They did this month. They also did have today. They were testing. They had Provida here testing pumps today too. So that's all they have.
Make a motion to accept the fire department report. No second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Police department. Denise. Yeah.
Good evening.
All right.
We had 143 calls for the month of April, totaling for the year 519. I attended the Chiefs Conference that was reimbursed due to a grant that I applied for in February. It was, I believe, $250 over what the actual fee for the conference was. So that was nice. We got our new tasers in. All 3 of us are taser certified as instructors. Use of force policy update hosted by the Waseca County Attorney's Office. That's a 5-hour free training that she hosted, and she provided lunch for us. So I'm in the final stages of the backgrounding process for potential part-timer waiting for the BCA to return fingerprints and POR and a bunch of other stuff. And a check was written to Karen Zimney, who does our backgrounding for us, for $980.88. And purchases. We're having a water balloon fight with the school, the last day of of school on the 30th, for all ages. So if you want to come down, have water balloon fight.
I did hear that some of the kids are pretty excited about this.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
So those supplies were $106.17. Annual iCrime Fighter fee, that's our evidence form online. That was $1,105. CIS annual fee and a box towing fee for an impound. Otherwise, that's all I have.
Make a motion to approve the police department.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You're reimbursed for that. Oh,
Was that?
The towing fee, do we get reimbursed for?
We do not. That's part of operating.
It doesn't go to the.
Well, whatever vehicle it is, should be just paid for it.
It could be if the county attorney's office does part of their
Restitution.
Yep, restitution. Yep.
Yeah, what I was thinking, yeah. Okay.
Hi, Bob. You're all ready to go.
Yeah, why not? I hear you guys are gonna be here till midnight. So.
Yeah. No, we're not.
Um,
I got a cold beer.
So we've got some information from April and March, obviously. In operations, our average census in April, as you see, was 35.6. Our annual average since October has been 36.9. Our current census should have been 39, but it's 38. We had one back out today. And we're in the quality areas. We are building a strategic plan in relation to quality assessment and process improvement. That is State of Minnesota and Centers for Medicare and Medicaid and the federal government's way of dabbling into your everyday processes. One of those things you have to have.
Yeah.
And then we are reviewing the number of hospitalizations within 30 days of admission and 30 days after discharge, because those numbers, if they are rehospitalized, affect us negatively in our STAR reports. So we're reviewing those, as well as working toward behavior reduction and better understanding if an action is a behavior issue or a personal preference by the resident. Many of the staff deem it when Jody's in the nursing home and he is yelling out at night, "I want my grain belt premium." Is that right? No. Try. But he's hollering out, and they write that down they put that in the medical record as a behavior, which is a negative tag toward that person's medical record when the state surveyor looks at it. When it's truly just a preference. He's saying, "I'm thirsty, I want something to drink." It's not a behavior. It's 9:00. Normally I have a beer at 9:00 and I'm ready for something right now. Where are you? And we need to do a better job at being able to communicate with the residents and show those preferences over behavior. The department managers are working on what we call a continuity of operations plan, the COOP, for 2026. That is a Minnesota statute that we have to have that. It's very similar to our emergency management plan. The emergency management plan is what we do when we have a flood, or tornadoes.
That one too.
The COOP is something that we have that we put into effect when the kitchen floods or the steam table went out or we had 5 people that are sick in nursing today and we have to send them home. What do we do? And we go to that book and we open it up, say, this is what we do, follow it, done deal. Our current issue right now is trying to get people to understand the essential functions of their jobs. Of course, somebody asked you, what's the essential function of your job, Josh? What's the essential function of your job? Well, everything. Because if I don't do one thing, my whole job falls apart. That's not necessarily true. We have to understand the essential functions, which is what we're working on. And when each department puts that together, then I can mash it all together in a book. And then we'll be working with our advisory board and department managers on a strategic plan for New Richland Care Center as a whole and how we will move into the future. Growth, levels of care, staffing, regulations, foundation, etc. Our financials come from March. We had a $20,000 profit in March. A couple of extra days in that month versus February, as you recall. Amazing, it happens every year. Expenses were in line with the budget in March. They did a very good job, and we had a slight census improvement from the previous month with a couple more days to do. Staffing. Well, at the last meeting, we were looking for a director of nursing. I had multiple candidates reviewed. I will be making an offer to one candidate this week and hopefully have an acceptance by the end of the week. Certified dietary manager walked out. Had a limited number of candidates because there's just not many of them around. I do have one person there acting as kitchen manager. She's doing a great job. We did give her a little bit of an increase for that, as a bonus as a result, helping us out. And I'm looking at an agency staffing unit to, I know agency is bad. But I'm looking at an agency to bring in a part-time manager so that they can do the clinical piece. So we don't have to pay our dietitian to do the clinical piece. And then they can do the staffing piece and go through and fix some of the regulatory stuff that may be not in line. And then hopefully that kitchen manager will take me up on the offer of going to school and getting that done.
Is it a lengthy thing for them to do?
No.
To get their degree or certification?
Certification, I think she could probably do it in 8 to 10 months. It's not full time at all. It's a self-paced program, and I think she could do a very good job in that. She's never thought of it till I brought it up, and then just poking the barrel.
So there is nobody in that position right now. And barring what you've got with her, you're still looking.
With the potential of maybe her pursuing. Hopefully, your fingers are crossed for that.
That little fingers could cross. Yeah, I'm hoping.
Okay.
Trying my best. And then we had multiple candidates for our activity director position. Linnell retired, and we knew that was going to happen. We had finishing interviews starting today and possibly into this week. We might have another one. But I have my yes, sir.
You finish yours and then I'll go. You have your candidate. What?
I kind of had my candidate of the, I think, 4 or 5 that I interviewed that I would choose. I just want the other department managers that are involved in the process to make their choice without my influence. That's why I had the second round of interviews here. Go ahead, Judge.
So you're a certified person that's running the show right now. Is that a tenured employee? Is it something that you're gonna stick money into and then they leave?
Oh, the dietary?
Dietary,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, she's been there for a while. I wouldn't ask her to do it. I did have a couple of people that came in and that's exactly what they were looking for. I'm a certified food service. I work at McDonald's, whatever. And they said, but I'd be willing to take the course if you pay for it. No, thank you. Have a nice day. Uh, if you're not already certified from the outside, you're not going to come to me and get certified.
So they're not working there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be ridiculous.
You'd almost have to put stipulations behind
Because then they would
leaving.
jump ship after 6 months and
Yeah.
I'll be in the same boat again next year. Thank you for that. RNs, LPNs, CNAs, mostly evenings, overnights, every other weekend, holidays. Of course, not sure about those holidays yet. State of Minnesota thinks we have to have 11. Be in nursing homes. And right now we're still chugging along at 11. Hopefully they come up with something and change that back. Costs us a lot of cash. And other than that, this week we're celebrating Nursing Home Week. All week. Today was Color Day or something. Oh, I'm black, so that's what I think. It's and then tomorrow we have Tacky Tourist Day. A couple of the girls, high school girls that went to Costa Rica, are going to do a presentation for the residents. Talk about all their vacations that they've been on, that kind of thing. Staff get bagels and fruit trays tomorrow, and then Wednesday we're having a grill out. Thursday, I think Wednesday is a grill out. Thursday is pulled pork and cowboy beans and Western Day. So we're gonna have cowboy karaoke for all of you that want to sing. I cannot wait to hear this council's thing. That's gonna be fun. Tony, I know you big deep voice, right?
I'm busy.
I'm busy. Friday is Vegas.
Me and Corey got something going on.
Well, bring it along. Yeah. We can do it. We can do this, man. We got all kinds of time.
You guys go, I'll go.
Friday is Vegas Day, and just a potluck for the staff. But we bought all our meat, burgers, the hot dogs, pulled pork from Neighbors Meats here in town. So I showed up there today. That's all I got. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Make a motion to accept the care center report.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No?
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Hi, Joe.
First off, I'm taking off on vacation.
No, you're not.
No.
It's Wednesday and I will be back on Tuesday.
Ooh.
I'm trying to get everything done by tomorrow night, so everything should be good.
Leave before the rain comes, huh?
Yeah, maybe I planned it that way. So yeah, if you need anything, Herb will be available. If anything is needed, you're just gonna have to call him, or you can call me, but I don't know if I answer. I mean, I'll try to, but I'll be out of the zone for that. Empire will wait to come until I get back from vacation, so that'll be about like the first week of June. We're cleaning and televising our 3rd year of streets. During the rainstorm that we had a couple weeks ago, we had 8.9 million gallons came into the plant. Well, that's for the whole month. Sorry, I should back up. 8.9 million gallons for the month, and water was 2,200,000. So we had 6.7 million extra gallons of water that you're treating.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if we can see if there's any grants for any sump pump ordinance, inspection deal or something to get. And I don't know if there is any grants. I'm asking around, see how everyone else does it. But we need to do something. You're spending a lot of money to treat the creek water.
Yeah.
And rainwater.
You even get a call back from that lady from PCA. That lady from PCA didn't call you back.
I talked to her today, but that was about a different issue, so.
CETA can't help with that, correct?
Maybe.
What was it?
CETA. What does it
Maybe.
say? Maybe.
Community economics.
Community economics.
Otherwise just normal stuff. Biosolid 64,000 gallons. I sent out 6.82 acres. Don't have a lot else going on. The air conditioner at the plant last year went into the red zone. Tried it again, just hoping it's still in the red zone. So it's been on the fritz for a few years now. But if the maintenance, see if you can get a deal, if they're gonna get new air, then you're gonna need something in that main office. Keep it cool in there. Otherwise I don't know about them controls, so.
Do we have nothing in there right now?
There's the one that's up on the thing.
Yeah.
On the wall, whatever you call those, but yeah, it's in the red zone still. So you're either gonna have to have someone come out and look at it again. I've had it fixed once.
Does need to be charged.
Don't know.
We can have somebody look at it.
Yeah, somebody should. Or it is, 150 degrees in there. Because it will get hot in there.
How's it been the last few days?
Last few days, keep everything shut. It's warm in there. You will work up a sweat. So that's the only room that's cooled, is that where all the
Office.
big main control boards. I don't know who's all been in there, but
I have.
all the main control boards are in that room. Nothing else gets cooled. That's the only room. So
And if they don't get cooled, what potentially
it's gonna
happens?
get hot and sweaty. And last year, the humidity came down the whole entire fronts of all the control boards. It was all humidity came down.
Okay.
So it's just not good on your
No.
wires and controls. So I just don't want that to happen again. The more it happens, the worse it's going to be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If it's on the outside of them, it's on the inside of them. So
Do you need us to direct or anything?
We'll pick one shelter.
Okay.
thanks.
I do need approval for our annual clean and televise up to 14,000 to Empire. That's part of that 5-year contract out of the sewer capital fund.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the annual clean and televise for Empire up to 14,000.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you. And then are we saving the crick for another year, or was that put on for this year? I remember we talked about.
No, we need to wait.
Okay. So next.
Well, let's discuss that when you get back from vacation.
Yep, that's fine. I just want to make sure. But now the lift station is.
Let's talk to who's the other guy?
Or what?
Who's the other guy? Not Empire. The other guy that we
Televises?
the other guy that we got bids from when we got bids from Empire. The guy that was like
Oh,
twice as expensive.
Oh gosh, what are their names? Tyler?
Yeah.
Tyler Chadnell?
Yeah, let's talk to him because he's itching to get back to town after he got blown out of the water by Empire. Let's see if he's maybe wanting to bid that chunk.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And see if he wants to bid it because he might be a little more cheaper than Empire to do that same. Because I thought Empire was pretty ridiculous for what they wanted to do that section.
Yeah, I think it was quite.
It was like $8,000 or $12,000. I think they wanted.
I thought it was more than that, but maybe a lift station might have been.
Yeah.
Let's hold
off on that. Let's just talk about it.
I will send him an email and I'll just send it so he sends it to you then, so
Yeah.
I don't have to be the in between.
Yeah, that's fine.
Any questions on any of this stuff from anybody?
Well, we got the humidifier, right? That's all up and
Got it
running.
down in the basement last week.
Okay.
Waiting on Ori with plug-in.
Okay.
But it should be. I've been spray foaming around the building to keep the water out of the basement. I mean, it comes in, it's just runs in when it rains. So yeah, spray foam is about the best thing that's working right now. Keep it from funneling in.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Anything else?
Yeah, I'm guessing not. No.
Okay.
Have a good vacation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Motion to approve the people service report.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Maintenance, Eric? Hi.
I'm gonna skim through this and get all the hot spots and go from there. What's fun? Got another ocean landing on 416. Braden and I both went on that one.
Are these scheduled meetings saying anything out of the ordinary?
It's part of that safety thing we went to.
It ain't something we're reacting to.
No, no. And then we burned ditches. Thanks to Kurt Peterson for helping with the assistance. It was pretty dry that day, but it burned up really well. So Pine Well came and did their annual inspection. Well, 3 needs to be pulled. He said it's been 7 years, so they're supposed to be in 5 to 7.
Yeah.
We need that one.
So when they're pulling it, are they just looking at it to see if there's anything needs to be replaced, or are they replacing it?
They replace what needs to be done.
That's what I thought.
You motor all the way down to the pipe.
Yeah.
Right?
Correct. Gotcha.
We had a shut up valve right at the school that Ray and I decided we'll dig up by hand.
How'd that go?
It sucked. But we ended up finding some water, and so what happened is 20 years ago, whenever they put in that line there, they had taken the meter, and then the top that we always call what do you call it? Shut off. What is that?
Curb stop wrench?
Curb stop.
Curb stop?
What they had done goes down. You're supposed to screw it together. I don't know if it was Friday or what. So what they did is put it on and just set it on top. So
It was never screwed on.
what's that?
It was never screwed on at all.
It was never screwed on.
Full of rock and junk.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's
Right here, Monday morning.
And then we had a blowout out at the St. Olaf Lake. Brandon Olson Olson's came and repaired that one. One. And coming down. They started painting on the concession. If anyone gets bored, go look at it. He's got the east side done. Looks beautiful. JNR came and exercised 44 of our valves, which I thought was quite a few. So next year, if we get them again, next year all we have is pretty much from the railroad east. So yeah,
he went through
got a lot of them, So and then I don't know how many people remember this, or you probably don't remember it, but it's all GPS when he comes and does it. So
So they have maps in the truck.
Maps and
And how often do we do that rotation? Is it every 3 years
What's up?
to have them come back to redo the areas they've already done?
No, we haven't got that point far yet.
We haven't got that far. I didn't know if we had a policy in place for that.
This year will be the third year, and I think you could get them all done in
Okay.
3 years.
So we'll have to decide.
Okay.
how we want to do it.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right.
And then this is, I know this isn't in order, I'm sorry. But we had, gosh, what do we have? 2 or 3 inches that day we had a plug.
About an hour, half hour.
Yeah. On here, and we had to have Brandon come help us with that one too.
And the
So-
Second Street.
Yeah, Second Street. Yeah. And thank you for helping out that day. Washed hydrants the other day, or last week. Another blowout behind, that was on the west side of the bowling alley. Brandon came fix that one. Brandon's been here a lot. So, also, Monday we had generator services come, and they service both our generators, up at the wastewater and. Any questions?
Wow.
Approval for your air conditioner.
Or a new air conditioner for the shop. What that one came in as steel.
Up to 1,400.
Oh, there. So that's something Ray and I can take care of. It's pretty much just got some screws and pull it out. Simple. We don't need an electrician or nothing for that one.
Okay.
I am kind of having the same.
The issue is the red.
She's having.
They're the same one, or is yours a mini split on the wall? Split.
I don't think sure hers has got a casing like this one does.
It's a mini split.
Yeah, mine you gotta get on the roof to get to the rest of it.
Yeah.
And that wind has destroyed it.
For this one, then we'll look at.
Make a motion to approve the Amana air conditioner for the city garage up to $1,400.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you.
A motion to accept the streets report.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. So unfinished business. We don't have anything, it looks like. New business. Tony, Heather?
Just I know that it's frustrated Jody for a long time. And so I just did some digging, and it is normal. So just with the change in the titles, we do not have a city clerk anymore. So I did do some reaching out, and all of the normal cities that have changed to a city administrator, they've changed their assistant position to deputy clerk. So I just figured that it makes the most sense for us to kind of transition to that. So I'm asking the council if they would be willing to change Heather's job title to deputy clerk. So if you're willing to do that, I'm asking to update her position title to deputy clerk, and then update her job description to deputy clerk. And there's nothing that changed in the job description. It's just changing the actual title of her position to deputy clerk and updating that job description to
I'll make a motion to change Heather's job to deputy clerk.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
There you got a new job name today.
Gotta remember that guy.
I'm gonna come in tomorrow and see if you have the name tag.
Name tag now.
I got some magic marker.
All right. So talking about for the resolution of 2521.
So in the past, the council has authorized facsimile signatures on checks as normal practice. In the past audits, since there was no resolution on file, the practice was no longer allowed. Staff and mayor requested this practice be allowed again, so that each individual check does not have to be authorized but signed by hand. So basically, this would allow there to be a stamp in with the signature of the mayor or myself
It would be kept in the vault. The mayor or myself would still have to use the stamp on each check. It's just that we would not have to physically sign every single check. We could just sit there and do that instead of. So this resolution authorizes us to be able to have a stamp created with their signature in order to do that.
Make a motion to accept resolution 25-21.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Swimming lessons?
Okay, so, unfortunately, no teenagers or anybody really wants
To do
to
it?
work for 15, 16 bucks an hour right now. And I have spoken with Geneva and other surrounding communities, and they're having issues getting staff to work. And they want to do the easy jobs. Like in Geneva, they have plenty of applicants for the concessions. So I'm like, hey, let's work together and you guys can do concessions or whatever, and we can split amongst, because we would have loved to get the concessions open here again. And we supply the lifeguards, and just nobody wants to do that. Even Macy Whiteside has reached out to neighboring communities, and she's constantly put out notices and everything, flyers for all these kids to get certified. We reimburse everything, and I had got one applicant. So we need to make the decision. We have no choice. I need your approval to cancel and then just refund everybody back that has registered and paid for. And that's where we're at, unfortunately. I mean,
We're not going to get anybody else.
no, and I mean, this winter, I will definitely do some more research and some brainstorming, seeing where I can get more feelers, anything to really help. And it really sucks as being somebody who was born and raised here, did swimming lessons here. Everybody wants it. We love it, but we cannot get the staffing. And I can't leave Tony for 3 months and run swimming lessons Monday through Friday. So I would love to if we could, but can't even do that. So
Is the pay rate the part of it?
Geneva was even offering
They just don't want to
$3-4
work,
bucks more an
regardless of the
hour,
pay.
and they're not getting any hits. So
The problem is Owatonna is paying $20 an hour for a lifeguard. Waseca's paying, 16, 18, $20 an hour for lifeguards. Nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants to. I mean, Macy has been running stuff weekly and announcements and stuff in the schools, and nobody wants. I mean, these kids are all looking for $18 and $20 an hour jobs and going elsewhere.
And we can't give them that?
It's
So we just don't want.
If you want to subsidize swimming lessons on taxpayer dollars,
I know what
I mean, then yeah, we could.
I just want to know.
Yeah.
and like even if we tried to this year, I don't think
It's not possible, is
there
it?
was it we'd be losing money this year even if we raised it, because I probably haven't even gotten half the people to sign up for it than that we did last year, and the deadline's coming up.
Can we do anything in preparation for next year so that we have all that in place?
That's what I thought. They come
Yep.
back from last year that said they weren't.
And I will try my hardest to look at more stuff, brainstorm, make it more beneficial for these teenagers. I will spend a good portion of this winter doing a lot of that, seeing what we can do. And Tony and I tried this winter too.
But I think unless the council really wants to commit to paying these kids $20 an hour, I just don't think it's gonna happen.
And I'm also thinking what I'm hearing from you guys, even if we offered them 20, we probably wouldn't have anybody taking that job because they just blocked it from their mind right now.
I think the biggest problem that we face is that they're probably not going to take it unless we're running lifeguards out there more than just swimming lessons. Yeah. Because they don't want to work just the swimming
They don't
lessons.
want
more hours.
the responsibility
that
of
makes sense.
watching, and that's the other thing is we had a lot of issues this last year with parents bringing their kids while they were still there, but they expected if a kid's acting out and hitting and having all these behaviors, they expected the lifeguard to have to take care of it and not stepping in, and the lifeguards were very uncomfortable with that, and I'm sure some of that went around too. That's not their job to
Correct.
watch your kids for a 30-minute session either. So yeah,
if they're gonna just be like doing lessons, I can see why it was a no-go for some of them. Whereas if we could get more staff to have lifeguards out there around the clock, because I would honestly, at the end of the day, I would love to, when we were kids, we had the bus take us too. And that would help out parents immensely as well. You know, but we have to have the staff and the interest in it again before we can do any of that stuff.
What's
So-
the age you have to be?
15 to be the lifeguard, but we need a 17-year-old to
17-year-old
be the
has to
water
be
safety instructor
the
to be in
head.
charge.
Yep.
I know my daughter was looking, but
Yep, and I talked to Kelly about it too and everything, and I think one of them, she wasn't gonna be old enough yet. But yeah, any teenager that I knew personally, I hyped it up and
Correct me if I'm wrong, some of our staff that we had lifeguarding, they're also possibly graduating
yeah,
and going
yeah,
forward.
they're all seniors.
They're all
this year.
seniors, yeah. So that's part of it. They all are the same age. No, I know.
Could possibly talking to past people that work there and people that you have currently did something with to try and get them to work here, could you get feedback from them to see if next year we can make something different that's more enticing?
Absolutely, I'm open to anything at this point. I definitely.
And talk to see if we get a bus. You know, if all that stuff were in place, would that work then?
And I would still love to work with like Geneva because they want to open up the pool again. They haven't had it. I would still love to be in. We have a lot of people that are from Geneva, Clarks Grove area, and split it so that people aren't constantly just driving to New Richland. You know, do half the sessions at the Geneva pool and half in New Richland or something like that. Not necessarily Geneva, but the surrounding lakes where we can still work together and bring in more kids for staffing and make it beneficial for everybody that travels for it. So lots of brainstorming, but to me, it's a no-go this year. There's nothing I can do. My hands are tied.
thanks for trying.
Yeah,
We
it's
do need
unfortunate, but
some formal direct,
formal as in what you want us to do.
formal refund or cancel lessons and refund.
Okay.
You almost have to.
Yeah, I guess we need to contact everybody that has signed up
Yep.
and refund them, saying that the lessons are not going to be going on this year.
I'll make a motion that we cancel the swimming lessons and refund the people that have paid.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
CETA contract discussion?
I know that I mentioned this. I don't remember if I mentioned it formally or not, but I just wanted to kind of have this discussion with you guys as if this is something that you wanted to look at potentially. I started looking at the money that's available in the EDA fund, and there is some money to just kind of start this process and potentially look at this as, you know, fourth quarter of this year going into next year to kind of get some feet on the ground before we move into next year. And I just wanted to kind of gauge your interest into maybe doing that. I mean, CETA's already come through with this $15,000 grant for the businesses in town, and I do think that they would be very beneficial. You know, we talked about potentially, you know, 2 days a month would be $16,000 annually. You know, quarterly, that's, you know, we're talking $4,000 for a quarter. I think, you know, if we potentially look at, you know, as a fourth quarter start, that's only really a $4,000 budget hit for the EDA to potentially work them into the fourth quarter budget to get us into that next cycle to start working in, you know, so we're not starting January 1, we're actually starting to build that process up to get, you know, go on January 1. Right. Yeah. You know, so we're not, you know, trying to. So I just wanted to gauge the interest, and if you guys, you know, were thinking the same way that I was thinking, that I would maybe engage CETA a little bit more and maybe try to look at what a contract looks like and maybe get that information started and look at a contract and formally put together some numbers from the EDA budget and kind of maybe bring that forward at the next meeting and maybe see what we can do. That's kind of the way everybody feels.
Yeah,
I think it'd be a good thing because it helps with grants. They know things
Yeah,
out
I mean,
there.
they would basically
Networking.
kind of sort of take over the running of the EDA meetings and kind of handle the business grant program and kind of handle that whole EDA homestake kind of stuff and basically be able to spend a lot more time working on CEDA and EDA stuff that I don't have the time to be able to put into that. I think that, you know, they've already got us a $15,000 grant without contracting with us. I can't even imagine how much more we'd be able to leverage that information. So
Would they be a way for us to finish what Gail had wanted to do at one point in time frame? He wanted us to get together and do a what if for something to get either industry or another business coming
for
to
sure,
town.
for sure.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah,
And I
they can
think-
definitely help us. Well, I know that the ED has been talking about potentially even, you know, we have the ability potentially to sell those townhomes and leverage some of that money that we could. I mean, even if we were able to, even if we have to pay back those zero interest grants that we got on those townhomes, I think we could legitimately, the EDA could legitimately pocket anywhere from $250,000 to $300,000 as you know, cleared, that we could reinvest into the community as far as some sort of, whether it be another housing project or some sort of,
Enticement, stuff like
yeah,
that.
some sort of enticement project with some CEDA help. So I think that that's why I'm saying that this type of program, this type of help would be very, very beneficial to having that.
I don't think you have it in here, but I'm pretty sure they've worked with many communities throughout southern Minnesota.
Tons, yeah.
That's what I thought.
Janesville contracts with them.
Because I think Truman and Fairmont did for some
Rhoda contracts with
apartments.
them, Janesville contracts with them. All right. Well, I'll work on something and then I'll have some more stuff in the future.
Perfect. Department head purchase policy.
Well, I just wanted to bring this up because, you know, you can't buy anything for $500 anymore.
What?
And then, yeah. And then with having one meeting a month, there's a lot of information going back and forth through emails, and I just wanted to see if we were amenable to updating the department head purchasing policy. So I did reach out to a couple of different places, and between the emails and talking to other places, it is all over the board with places that have purchasing policies. So what I wanted to discuss is what I kind of sort of came up with, and this, we can talk about it. And this is, but you don't have to adopt this if you don't want to. But just what we had kind of talked about was, now when I talk about budgeted, what I'm saying is that whatever is budgeted by the council for stuff, so like sand and rock or whatever, as long as it falls within that category, that's included in there. So department heads up to $1,000 of their budgeted, they can take care of that. So if Eric needs $1,000 worth of rock or something like that, he can just approve that. If it's over $1,000 but under $2,000, as long as it falls into that budgeted category, they can come to me and I can say, yep, it falls into that category. You're okay to do that. Anything over $2,000 still always has to be approved by the council. But that way, you know, we seem to have it all taken care of that way. I have a pretty good handle of where stuff kind of sort of needs to be in that category. So that's kind of what I'm presenting to you guys, and I'm happy to take questions, comments, arguments, whether you think that's okay, whether you don't think that's okay, or whether you want to change that or feel differently. But I think that way, you know, most everything that we're buying on a regular basis, day to day, is less than $1,000 or should be around that $1,000 mark. Occasionally something's over $1,000 but it should never be really over $2,000, and anything over $2,000 should normally be approved by the council. The only thing that would fit out of that category is any of those normal things like regularly approved contracts that are annual contracts that are normally approved by the council that we would normally spend outside of that. So
We're thinking most of this is just going to be like equipment and stuff that
yeah,
office supply, you know.
yeah,
Supplies online.
that kind of. I'm talking just normal day to day, but I'm not talking anything like if we want to buy something that's not planned to buy. I'm just talking like if he's got supplies that are going to be $1,000 or $1,200 or something like that, you know, and it's just a normal budgeted expense.
Yep.
And now we just had a council meeting tonight, but you know, Friday he's got to buy $1,200 worth of supplies. Now I got to send you guys an email and get 3 of you guys to approve it before the next council meeting. That's 30 days away.
Yep.
You know, I want to try to get away from doing that. I'd rather be able to say, yep, Eric, it falls within your budget. It's okay. You know what you're doing, that kind of stuff. And then we'll, you know, you still have ultimate approval on it every month, you know, through the financials and stuff like that.
Yep.
But, you know, if it's over the 2,000 mark, then you guys still need to approve it. So it's always been in the policy since even Michelle was here that the city administrator can approve up to $2,000 budgeted items. So there's not any changes being made. It's just that it just gives me the ability to approve the department head stuff up to $2,000 without having to send an email to you guys to change that.
Yeah, I mean, I think as long as it's equipment and stuff like that that's being used for the operation of the city, I think I wouldn't have an issue with it. Now, if it was a training or a conference, somebody's gonna be out of town, something like that, then I wouldn't want necessarily that to fall into this policy without it going through the council.
I would like to say it with a kind of a caveat. Let's revisit it once we pass it in 6 months to see if it's being effective. You know, find out whether there are any snags for it or whether you don't like it, that type of thing.
Or we can change it to, we can do 1,500. I don't care. We can do whatever you want to do.
For me, the dollar amount don't make any difference. It's just, you know, like you said, it's getting in between this and that. And why come to us if they can already say, yeah, I need it. You know,
I was a little blown away by Pine Islands.
So I too. I thought this was.
Yeah.
I would like some language in there that goes for the operation of the city.
Okay.
Equipment for the city, supplies for the city, that sort of thing. And I think I would be all on board with it.
Are you making a motion for that, or
No, don't do that because I'll have to.
You have to rewrite something up. Okay.
That's just a discussion on my end.
Okay.
I think it's a good idea to look at it and come back with us
Yep.
or something.
Mm-hmm.
No worries.
all right? All right. Any other discussions on it? EDA grant?
The EDA approved a business enhancement grant to Thompson's Auto Body Shop for approval for that.
I can to approve the EDA grant for Thompson. Yeah.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. May 26th, City Hall is closed for Memorial Day. Okay. Anything administrator report?
Just I think we talked almost through everything here. Street project, I've been working with both Jason and Corey on stuff and Shannon from DDA. I met with CETA for EDA stuff. I went through that bond rating call. Went very good, very happy with how that turned out. Participated in a South Point financial activity with the school. That was where the kids got to get issued a wife and children and had to go through life. Submitted sales tax for April. Worked on the final transition with the ambulance billing team, so we are officially getting billed with EMS MC, and that's going very well. As Eric said, we went through our OSHA inspection procedures safety training meeting. Attended the Minnesota City County Management Association conference. Reviewed the final draft audit
information from Abdo. We will be getting the final audit presentation at the next meeting. Finalize the budget and plan documents for the MCPA flood mitigation grant. I should be receiving the official plan authorization form this week for signature. As you heard, we've submitted a grant for the handicap accessibility thing and received a grant from the foundation. Thank you so much for that. We also did receive our reimbursement for the siren grant from the USDA.
Where's that money gonna go?
It'll go back into the capital reserve for the siren. Employee anniversary. Sarah Sunby's been here for 11 years on the 1st of June. Upcoming birthdays, myself on the 14th, Mr. Economy on the 19th, Abigail on the 25th, and Aiden on the 29th. And that's what I got for you.
I'll make a motion to accept the administrator's report.
Okay.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any council?
I do have something. So there, did you do anything about that fence up there? When we talked, we got the
Yes, we're gonna redesign the fencing. We're actually, until Corey and I get along, get together, we're moving in a little bit.
So is that because been farming the last few days in the gas plant out on 7. So the field that the guy was working for, there must be something because there's at least 2 to 3, probably 5 foot between the fence and where his field starts, and there's like a patch of grass. You know what's going on up there? Not saying, I mean, I help farm. I try to get as much land as possible. I don't know where the line is. Like you said, if we have to move it in, but that fence is really.
What they do, they're trying to get rid of them.
Yeah.
Well, then this keeps getting closer and closer.
Yep.
They're not actually trying to get
No, but they're trying to knock it down. But it'd be nice if we could get a buffer in there, and if we had to mow around it, because that would help with your water too running in, because you'd have a ridge kind of.
Yeah, most of it is because that fence line is on the line.
Okay.
So
we got a
there
pretty good
is
plan
no-
in place, I think.
Okay.
We got a pretty good plan in place, I think.
Yeah, there was just no buffer, but the water is still gonna come down that hill.
Yeah.
And it's still gonna come through there. Culvert.
It almost.
So you can get with Corey and
Yeah.
try to divert towards the west. Somehow.
Correct.
And then down the bottom of the hill, again, we gotta talk about that one too.
Almost something
I'd
that.
rather just go over the road instead of down our street. Fill up our storm sewers. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we're working on.
No, I was just curious where you guys were. I know there's other projects going on.
We are certainly working on the plat there. Anytime we stake a boundary, there's a methodicalness that you just can't take what's on the plat. So we have to find some irons and some monuments. And there is that subdivision platted, but it's within the hayfield there. And so we're having a hard time just finding irons to substantiate it. But I think in observation, the fence for the wastewater treatment plant and the property line are very literal to each other. And so any of this idea of buffering and such, we're talking about either a modification of the fence further into the city property or a change of the city property ownership line. So that's something we can anticipate. We'll have to kind of strategize around, but it appears that the fence is very literally placed on the property line. That's part of the challenge that we're observing. So.
All right. Thank you.
Right.
I got something.
Okay.
I had a resident come up to me and ask to put I don't want to say ordinance, but rules or whatever it was for landscaping companies or people in town that mow for other people. And this person would like to see if there could be some type of ordinance saying what you have to do or some of the rules, regulations, and whether or not Because this person pays insurance for his mowing and he knows other people don't do that. And he'd like to see if the city could make some type of rules for what you can do for lawn mowing in town. You know, like make a permit for it, like they do golf carts, stuff like that.
We wouldn't require them to get a permit to mow for somebody else.
You'd have to do the same thing
You
for
get a
snow
permit,
removal then.
maybe
too.
not get a permit, but maybe say they have to have insurance. That's
Make
That'd be a
commitment.
business.
But a 10-year-old kid, mowing his neighbor's lawn, you're gonna make him get insurance?
That's what I'm saying. We need, he would like to have that discussion.
No, I understand. Yeah.
I'm just bringing it up. Can you bring back stuff to us next meeting? Tony,
Well, I mean,
just your ideas?
What are you looking
I
for?
mean, that's a business license. I mean, if they're a business, they have to have their license insured and bonded and whatever. I mean, that's not something the city's got to require somebody to have. So, I mean,
So it's already out there then.
that's
Them type of rules.
if they're mowing somebody else's lawn, they're required to carry their own liability
Okay.
insurance and stuff like that. That's not something the city that would
All right.
require them to have.
That's good enough. That's all I needed.
Be their choice of what type of insurance they want to carry.
Because Matt's right. I mean, if we were to do that, then any kid that's mowing.
That was
lawn
my
would be
point
required
exactly.
to have-
That's why I wanted to ask.
That'd be any type of business, dog walking, anything.
Right.
You'd have to have guidelines for it all then.
Slippery slope.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
I don't wanna go down there.
No. All right. Anybody got anything else?
I move to adjourn.
All right. I'll second it. All in favor? Aye. Thank you for everyone for coming.